Max and Molly were born a little bit early. Molly was perfect. Max had to go to the NICU, so he was always causing a little trouble. He was eventually diagnosed with autism at 18 months.
Maybe even 10 months. There was a checking out that started to happen. You could see it in his eyes, and you don't want to accept it.
Just thinking, okay, well, if he's going to have autism, we're going to do what we can to make sure that he can still participate, he can still go to regular school, and it'll be fine because we're doing everything that they say that we're supposed to do.
I first met Sean and Ashley in 2019 when we were looking for a community partner to host an event with S.E.L.F. for parents. They were interested in the same things that I was interested in, which is, inclusion and access on a broader level. And they modeled that in their community by bringing Max into the church and making him as much part of the church community as was possible, given his issues and challenges.
Put that one on.
I have them. When I think back to my own background and my own time, I was very much from a kind of part of the world where someone who was neurodiverse would have been out of public view. It would have been at home, he would have been in school, and maybe rarely mentioned. And so it was such a gift of Sean and Ashley to let us share what was wonderful about Max and is wonderful about Max. And Sean and Ashley, just by being a family in that way and open to letting us watch and be part of it, invited us to a deeper understanding and a broader view. Little Max, in his own way, was also part of the reason that when the opportunity to do Coffee for Good was something that first came onto the table, we could make the connection of how much it would mean.
We've held other events at the church. We held one event in early 2020 where we brought neurodiverse teens together in a social setting so they could play video games and meet one another. Those are, again, individuals that don't have an opportunity to connect, don't have friends.
He was going into the public school kindergarten, and that's where things went awry. One time they called me because they couldn't get him off of the floor in the hallway. I think he was licking the floor. He was only there for maybe 6 months before the school district recommended he go to an outplacement therapeutic school. A wonderful experience for the 5 years before they closed permanently during COVID. We got together and we said, well, we're all in the same boat. None of our kids have a school to go back to, and all the teachers and therapists and wonderful people who've gotten to know our children over the years, they're out of jobs, so we needed an investor. We tried to push out our story.
It was really the moms coming together and put together a school behind the scenes.
I called up Christine to say, can we start a restricted fund within S.E.L.F. to specifically help these families from this school that closed.
It was extraordinary to me that Ashley thought of helping these other families while she was helping her own child. As Max grew older and developed, it became more and more clear that what was available in a day special education therapeutic program was not enough to handle the complexity of his needs.
Yeah, he had bruises, welts on the side of his head. He would go like that.
When he got dysregulated, he would punch himself in the head. So much so that sometimes he ended up in the ER because of it.
I did not want to send our son away. Max is almost as big as me.
I think he's bigger.
Yeah, and when he grabs you now, it's like a man is grabbing you. He almost stepped on Abram once, like on his head, and I saw it, and that to me was the line, kind of like, oh, this isn't like a game anymore. I have a therapist, I'm also a therapist, and he said to me, do you see now what you've been carrying? It's time to let him go. He needs to grow up too.
It didn't mean the school district was going to cave quickly. It never does, unfortunately. there's a lot of emotional currency in this field. I'm going to get emotional now. And there is, because we're up against much more powerful resources with people who it's not urgent for, frankly. And to know that their instinct and the professional advice they got that he needed more is working quickly. It doesn't mean that we're expecting miracles overnight. Nobody does, but it makes me feel great.
He's doing better. His self-injury is gone. And that's a major piece for me. He was eating with a fork, which we used to always have to remind him to eat with a fork.
He didn't wear a diaper the whole way on a 3-hour trip. That's a milestone.
I am overwhelmed by this incredible feeling of love and acceptance that I rarely have experienced in witnessing any other parent or family.
It's not that injustice just exists, it just bothers us so much.
There aren't two Seans, there is only Sean. So who he is with his full and authentic self is the person who he offers in the context of his ministry, and that's the person that you get to know behind the scenes or in a later kind of occasion.
My whole ministry, Max is right here with me. Like, I'm not doing this alone. I could say, oh, God is good. Well, then why did he give you a son with autism? Well, now we're gonna have to do some wrestling to get that. And you learn answers that people don't wanna hear. Like, you could handle that. And in you handling that, well, barely handle it, to those who couldn't, you stood up there and gave them hope every week. I hear that all the time. To those in our midst, you don't wanna call out everybody who's neurodivergent, but there's an awareness that it's safe here. You won't be judged, and all of us have a familiarity. Max has been our teacher. I want to create a huge community center that's not just about religion, it's more about community.